Well, it had to be done, everybody. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We are about to record Generation Leeds around about 5 minutes after this. We're also going to be bringing exclusive content, exclusivo contenta to the Patreon. Make sure you go and check that out, everybody. Links in the description below if you want to help as well regarding any sort of if you want to get involved, sponsorship, local community sponsorship. We are looking at that right now, everybody. I'm getting emails in droves. If you'd like to be part of the One Leeds family, make sure you get in contact. One Leeds family, might as well be One Leeds family. One Leeds fan channel at gmail.com. We have a soft launch of something coming this week, which is going to be aired on the Patreon as well. We've got merchandise, we've got everything going on here at One Leeds HQ. And before we get going, everybody, make sure you are liking the video. Okay. I haven't checked the counterpoint out. What are you doing? The show between me and Just Joe on a Monday, really to get you into your flow. Make sure you check that out every Monday morning. And yeah, that was aired this morning. We talked about San Francisco 49ers transfers, etc., personal feelings. Pompey, Pompey at the weekend. But here, I'm a little bit sort of rejuvenated, I should say, revitalized. Leeds United in for Johnny Rowe. As Chris Reeve says, let's have a go. One of the most promising young talents in the country. Not only that, one of the most promising young talents, or if not the most promising young talent in the Championship. A wonderful player who has been linked with Leeds United this morning. John Percy has said that Leeds are going in for him. There's been talk of a £7 million bid. 1 year left on his deal with an option to extend it for another year, which basically means that it's not great. It is not great at Norwich when it comes to their situation, their predicament. He's not signed another contract, of which Norwich probably would have wanted him to do last season. That hasn't happened. Can it be a genuine prospect this window where they lose Sarah, maybe even Sargent and Johnny Rowe? Now Norwich are in a predicament where Leeds don't want to be in a couple of years' time, where parachute payments have run dry, everybody. Wages aren't going to be especially high when new players are potentially coming in. Transfer budgets aren't going to be astronomical or maybe on the level that they were beforehand. Norwich brought a lot of big hitters in on big wages, maybe Premier League vets as well, Duffy, Barnes, etc., etc. Hasn't quite worked out. Leeds do not want to be in that predicament, so we need to take lessons from Norwich. Don't be employing bad coaches and giving them unbelievable tools and all this sort of stuff. You know, Sarah and Johnny Rowe not being utilised to their full potential has been absolutely criminally underutilised by Wagner. And let's not Mr. Farker have a repeat when it comes to the likes of Rutter and Nonto and co. Let's get this bunch, this massive, massive bunch of players with such a high ceiling / potential into the Premier League this season, please. Let's not put Wagner in the same bracket as Farker next season. Anyway, what do we know? What can I tell you that I know about this Johnny Rowe deal? Well, I can tell you that at this moment in time, it's not a happy hunting ground for him down at Norwich. I don't think he's that enamored from what I've heard with things going on at Norwich. Gabby Sarah being sold, Josh Sargent. Apparently, there's potentially a little bit of movement there as well. And you've got to look at Rowe's projection now, his trajectory. Now, Wolves are apparently interested, but what I can tell you about Wolves is there's been no formal bid whatsoever or no formal approach. There's interest, but there is no formal bid / approach. Now, from what I understand, Leeds have made an approach. And obviously, as we know via John Percy, who never misses, Leeds are in contact with Norwich now, and the first bid is set to be £7 million. Now, what will we get? What will we get? Well, we've got to sort of look at the value of Johnny Rowe. We've got to think to ourselves, well, how much are we going to be paying for a lad who's out of contract? Now, I think you've got to go to the limit of which you can for this kid. We are in the green when it comes to financial. We've made 70+ million when it comes to outgoings. Kamara, Cresswell, Rocker, obviously the big hitters as well when it comes to Archie and Crescencio. Leeds have got money in the pot. I think we're aware of that. Everything going on in the background when it comes to staffing, when it comes to the facilities at Ellen Road, all this sort of stuff is great. But we were told by Parag that the money would go back into what's going on the field, and that may still happen. And with a Johnny Rowe addition, I think, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not my money. I don't care how much we spend, to be quite frank with you. My objective as a Leeds United fan is to get Leeds United out of the Championship into the Premier League, where we belong as one of the top clubs and one of the custodians of English football. We need to be back up there. I don't care what the 49ers spend. As long as it's within the remit of PNS, I don't care. So 1 year left on his deal. He has an option to extend it, which might hike up the fee by £2 or £3 million. Norwich might negotiate that. What we do know right now is Leeds are far away from the valuation that Norwich are looking at. Now, from my perspective, I think for Johnny Rowe, I know he's only got a year left on his contract, but I think you're looking at 13 to 15 million quid. 7 million quid for me won't cut the mustard. Now, is he worth 13 to 15 million quid? Would you pay that just for him standalone? Would it be a bargain for him if he was just on a genuine sort of 3 to 4 year contract? Of course, that plays into, the conversation because contracts worth money and you buy players out of contracts. But is he worth as a player 15 million quid? He is. 21 years of age, has done it for England at youth level, can score a variety of goals, headed goals last season, goals with his right foot, I should say. He is a tall winger, which we've not had for a while. A tall winger, someone who is just an athlete, a pure athlete, can play right and can play left. I would say that Johnny Rowe inverts a lot, also could play centrally. Very, very quick. Great ball striker. And also, everybody, I mentioned this at the weekend, his XG was outperformed last season, and only 2 other players did it ahead of Johnny Rowe last season. That was Morgan Whittaker and that was Gabby Sarra. Gabby Sarra has been transferred to Norwich, had 2 of the highest XG merchants in this division who were outperforming. They were outperforming their level, and they still fell massively short for the majority of the season, which wasn't good enough. And that is something that you can, look at the manager for 100%. But yeah, I think this is a massive opportunity. I've mentioned this to you guys for 7 months, 8 months, maybe even over a year now, that Johnny Rowe is the man I would go for. Over Jack Clark, I think, just on the premise that it's going to cost too much money for Jack Clark. There's rumours that we at least spoke to Sunderland about Jack Clark. It's going to be 20 plus for Clark. I don't think we're going to do that. I think the most we go to is 13, 15 million. With all the incomings we've made and championship restrictions and all that sort of stuff, you can't be spending 20, 25 million on this player, and this player. It just won't happen. You need to utilize the loan market, but as well spend wisely. I think Johnny Rowe is a massively wide investment. And for me, as much as I would pay with a year left, is 13 to 15 million quid. That's what I would personally do. I think that would get you, man. As I've said, no formal bids yet. It's now in the ether, though. This is what the 49ers don't want. But you cannot just hamper every single source. And now with John Percy, he's the best source on the net for me. The best source on the net for me. I know Mike McGrath works with the Telegraph, and I've got massive respect for Mike. I think Mike is very, very good when it comes to actual proper things being met in terms of standards and actually getting accurate information. John Percy broke the Bogle news first. Broke the fact we were interested, broke the transfer fee, broke the breakdown of it as well. He's a very, very reliable source. So Leeds are in contact. And I know for a fact as well from another source that they are in contact with Norwich right now. The beautiful thing about this is it's a fantastic target. It's someone who Leeds United can mould into this fantastic front four. Imagine Rowe, Joseph, James, Nonso. It is that we've been speaking about Somerville, Kudus, Bowen, for West Ham United and how Somerville's going to elevate that. Fulkrug. The beauty of we've almost got that relative level. It's like Power Rangers FC if we're able to get Johnny Rowe in as well. And imagine with the amount of XG we generate as a team, imagine how unbelievably good Johnny Rowe's going to be in that system. Somerville didn't outperform his XG, I believe. Nonto definitely didn't. But Johnny Rowe has already done it at a Norwich level as well. So cultivating his own chances, an innovator and someone who is just a born and bred athlete who can score goals left or right and with his head as well. The perfect signing for Leeds United, 100% someone who we should be gunning for. And if we get him, we should all be absolutely excited. And I want some apologies from some of you guys who have been doubting the men in charge. But no, I understand why you have been. I get it. But listen, and we can all judge the 49ers. We can all be speaking on them, really, can't we? And we've got to look at them and think, do you know what? You get this one right, replace Somerville with someone like Johnny Rowe. And, you're not replacing him with that limited resources thing when it comes to what Daniel Farker said. You're not replacing him with 25, 30 million. You're spending 15 million, 10 to 15 million on a player, and you're getting an extremely good value player at this level. It would combine. Imagine the combinations with Jorginho Rutter. Wow. Don't get too excited, Connor, because us in Norwich, they never seem to. Ever since Max Aarons, Omar Bamadele, where we've spoken about him, Kenny McLean, we've been interested in their entire team for about 5 years. So yeah, let's not get too stuck in the mud about this. But by God, I'm praying this one happens. Guys, is he your number one target? Why is he your number one target? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.